Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have an updated deck list for the blue Crocodile Starter Deck Leader, and this is specifically for the limited series events that are happening at the end of October, beginning of November online, and it's kind of just the idea that you can take two starter decks, put them together, and make the best deck that you can with those. There's not obviously a huge card pool, but there's also a bunch of cards that I would take out of this list, specifically get rid of this Thrust Pad Cannon. It does like nothing for us. I hated drawing this in the pre-release events that I went to, but I also just want to say thank you guys so much for all the support and viewership and everything for the tips and tricks, especially just people who said that, they watched it, it helped them win. It really means a lot to me. So I just wanted to show you guys this leader, and then if you guys want to let me know in the comments the next leader that you want me to make a video for, I'm going to make a video for each one of them before the limited series event go, but I want to start with Crocodile because it's my favorite, and I think honestly it is the strongest one going into it because it has a lot of good cards in it that were, I don't know, like a lot of them were just restricted to 2 copies of it, which makes sense, but if you're able to run at them at 4, it just makes the deck way more consistent. So originally, so this Crocodile Leader, it just says -4 once per turn. Sorry, Dawn -4 months return. You can return a character with a cost of 5 or less to owner's hand. It can also be your own characters, just so you know. It doesn't come up very often, but it can come up if you need it to, and it's fine. It's a cool little card, and I do like the idea of it. So you can, it's really good offensively most of the time to return something, but really tempo based. And especially since like you always get free Dawn back, and you can just look at your hand and be like, well, I have 8 Dawn right now in my hand. I have like a couple of 4 costs or something. I'm not going to need all 8 Dawn next turn. Let's get a bunch of tempo and do that. And like sometimes like you'll swing like your big boys, you'll swing in and then you pop all of their cards back to their hand, so they're going to have a either play their guys again and give you tempo, or just waste their turn pumping up their leader and popping one of your guys. So I really like it. It's really flexible, and I like what it does. It's really obnoxious when you're able to do it well. So going through the cards, first we're going to keep our 4 Trafalgar Laws. These are just nice in a lot of ways. They are Warlords of the Sea, which with the Gecko Moria, anything I'm going to mention that is Warlords of the Sea I'm going to mention, but he is really good for that. He's just a 1-drop blocker, which is great in a format like this. It's really good against green in the sense that it's a blocker that they have to get rid of because they like to have these big, powerful swings with it. And it's just good. Like it can protect your things a lot of the time too. So I think blockers are really good right now, and they're a little bit underrated. So make sure to run 4 of those. We are running 3 of the Bartholomew, and this is just an okay card, and it's just really just a just card to say, you know what? Card draw is so rare. It is worth it to pay 2 to play a guy to say, okay, what's my next 3? Is there something that I need to get into my hand? Help me get it next turn. It's good enough. It seems really slow, and most of the time it's not great, but I did want to put a couple copies in it. I mean, if it hits off your life, sometimes you get to play it for free. Look at top 3 and you see what card you get next in your hand, but it's just fine. I think 3 is the number for it, and it's just the fact that it doesn't have a counter in your hand, it means it's kind of worthless. It's only 2 though, so it's not too hard to get out of your hand, and it's there. 4 of the Boa Hancock. Blockers are good. I like it's, as you guys probably saw, like there's so many times where like sure you had like +3 4K counters in hand, but playing a blocker instead would have made it way easier for you. This also gets to play for free off of your life, so sometimes it can just save you the game. Not very often, but it's also just a 1K counter, so you're not feeling really bad about it. It's just a very strong card for us. Edward Weevil we're playing 4, even though it's vanilla. Sometimes like playing this on 3 just is okay, and it's a 5K, so you can start pressuring your opponent's leader with it too. But oh man, the first big bomb for us is 4 of this Sentomaru. This is the best card in your deck. If you're able to play this on turn 2 and it lives, you are in a really good spot. And also, if you go second and you're playing against something that can interact or pop this, it is worth it just to say, you know what? Turn when I have 6 Dawn, play this, and then for 3 play the Kuma from my deck, or the Pacifista, my apologies, and just have that first automatic hit with it, and you just kind of go from there. You can even do that, and then you can do the leaders -4 after that. You'll get to 4 Dawn at the start of your next turn, and then for 3 you can play another of your boys. It's just very good tempo swing. You want to see this every game. It's a 1K in hand worst case too, so the only thing about this is that we can only run 4 of our Pacifistas, so you do have to be kind of wary when you do some searches and stuff how many are actually in your deck and how many are in your hand, because there can be some in your life, as we have probably some of you guys probably have noticed already, but it's very, very good. Being able to play this for free, it's a card draw and playing a card for free. It's such a good investment on such a 3-drop that's a 4K is pretty good stats too. So it's just absurd amount of values, and it's very, very good. I like the card. You guys are probably, if you saw Sensamaru in your own pre-releases and you saw that it probably just won you the game if you played it turn 2, it's imagine playing 2 more copies of it. It's very good. Next, we do have the Marshall D-Teach, which is another 2 of that we get to upgrade to a 4 of. This is fine. Sometimes this can just be like a way to clear the board. And something that you're going to notice is that we run a lot of 4-drops, and that's strictly because it's really nice for this leader to say, you know what, I'm going to play Marshall for 4, and then with the 4 that I tapped, I'm going to use a Crocodile effect. That means I get to bounce 2 cards back to my opponent's hand. And if they only had 2 cards out, that means that next turn, unless you're playing red with a bunch of rush, you're going to guarantee that they can only attack with their leader next turn, which is really good, which is a really good feeling, which means you can be a little aggressive, and you can be like swinging with your big boys and know that they're going to have to invest a lot of Dawn or just resources to get rid of that, and that feels really good. So I do like the inclusions of this. It gets weaker the later the game it goes, but once again, it's a 1K counter in hand, so you're never feeling too bad about it. And again, being able to pay 4 and then Dawn -4 right afterwards is a really good combo from this deck. We also get to upgrade our Dracula Mihawks to 4 copies. Some starter decks get their +2K counters. They get 4 of them in it. This one does not. You only get 2 Mihawks, but this is a fantastic card. Sometimes you do just feel like you want to play it, and it's very good. And it's just solid. And then we do also, just to kind of go with it too, the Gecko Moria. This is the rarest, like it's card draw in its finest in this game, because you just get a Warlords of the Sea or Thrill the Bark Pirates besides itself. But that means Dracula Mihawk, that means the Marshall D-Teach, that also means like not the Sentamaru, but you also do get the Boa Hancock or the 1-drop Law. So it can get you a +2K counter, it can get you a blocker. It's just so much advantage for you. It's such a good card, and it's a 5K on a 4-drop. It's very, very good. So all of those, like you just saw, like there's so many of our good cards that we're at 2 of, that now that we have them at 4, you're feeling great. Next, we do have the Crocodile, and I'm going to mention both of them because they're both just okay. They are blockers, which is kind of nice, and this is the one from the starter deck. So this one just says blocker, Dawn ×1, unblock when you're a character with cost of 2 or less at the bottom of your owner's deck. It's very easy to play around this. This just means like if they have like a Nami against red, which isn't really often. Purple has like nothing. It just means like if they have a blocker out, they can't swing with their leader unless they want to get rid of it. And green can sometimes come up, but like it's just okay. It's an okay effect, and it has some removal, but it's not great. And the worst part about it is that it doesn't have the counter cost, which I get, but I don't know. I feel like it would have been fine to have this with a counter. Meanwhile, this Crocodile, it's a 4-drop. It does have counter, and then just Dawn ×1. This gains blocker, which means that like this is still a 5-drop blocker essentially, right? But you could play it a turn earlier on 4 if you need to, and then this means like next turn you can even just swing with this if you need to, or just invest a Dawn, and then it becomes a blocker the next turn. So if you need it, it's fine. It's just an interesting dilemma between the 2 of them. I think a 2-2 split between the both are fine. If you don't get these promo pack ones and you only have these guys, that's fine. And if you don't like these at all and you want to go with 4 of the Crocodile promos since you have them, I think that's fine too. I think this is it's fine. Just more blockers and just your flexibility. And then we're running 3 of the Don Quixote del Flamingo. If you want to run 4, you can go for it. It's a very, very good card, especially against green. Like plopping this card down against green means you probably win the game most of the time, because they have like these good 4, 5, 6, 7 drops that you can just play this and get rid of it, and it just feels fantastic. So I think Don Quixote del Flamingo is good. If you see too many of them, they're going to be kind of stuck in your hand, which kind of stinks. But it's fine. I think it's an okay card for 4 of if you want to be crazy. 2 of is even not that bad. We do get more card draw than anything else, and a little bit more cycle. So you can play a Bartholomew Kuma and be like, oh well, I know that I can put this as my next draw next turn and go from there. And also, like, if you don't see your Don Quixote del Flamingos, you can just mean like you can be more aggressive with your Dawn minus on the Crocodile and just kind of go from there. So that's it. I think it's fine. And if you want to run it 4, you can. I think 3 has been working with me pretty good. And then next we do have the event cards. They're just kind of the last cards of the deck. So 4 of the Love Mellow, and then 4 of the Sables. So this being able to draw you cards is great. And then if you have just 2 Open Dawn, which isn't too hard to do with this deck, it just means that you can get a plus 4k counter, which can be impactful, save your dudes, and then get the card draw if you need to. So I think that's fine for it. And then Sables is such a good card. Like, this is part of the reason that we're only running 3 copies of Don Quixote do Flamingo, is because the Sables is just a 4-cost version of it. And again, like, this is, since it's a 4-cost, it can be something where you play Sables for 4, and that the 4 Dawn you use for it, you can use your Crocodile -4 and get rid of 2 cards on the field, 1 7 or less and 1 5 or less, and you only spent 4 Dawn for it, which is fantastic. So I really do like this, and that's just part of the reason, again, I like this leader, is that a -4 Dawn isn't too bad. It's like, if you Dawn out, if you're at 10 Dawn at the start of your turn, that just means you start your next turn at 8 Dawn, and 8 Dawn's pretty much the same as 10 Dawn in a deck like this, where your highest cost play is a Don Quixote do Flamingo, which you probably maybe do next turn if they try to play the big boys again. So I think it's a very, very strong deck. It's a very obnoxious deck, and that's part of the reason I like it. But that is my build for it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about my decisions or cards I could include or would include, please let me know in the comments, as well as, again, which deck you want me to cover for the next one. So that's going to be it for me. Again, thank you guys for all the support and watching, and I'll catch you all next time.